Just want to make sure I look that right. Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, minutes are adopted. Item number 1, water and sewer budget revision number 3, Ms. Standridge.
Good afternoon, council.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
This budget revision is based off of the item that was briefed to you by Jeff Powell in Projects Committee regarding the sewer extension at the airport. The budget revision is in basic terms, is just recognizing some interest income that we have already earned that is over the budget that we previously adopted. And then transferring that into the water and sewer RFFI to be able to have the project expense be recognized there. Now, what Mr. Powell mentioned in Projects Committee was that it was going to be a little bit lower than we had originally thought it was going to be. So the budget revision is actually for $88,150. If we would like to amend that to be the $55,000 that he mentioned in projects, we can do that here.
We would.
Yeah.
So, Ms. Johnson, do we need to make a motion to amend that or simply note it in the proceedings?
I think it would be safer to make a motion.
Okay, is there a motion to, do you have the exact amount, Vicki?
55.
51,500.
Yeah. I want
51,500?
a motion to make this.
To amend the
50.
amount to 51,500?
Yes, sir.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Amount is amended back to the original revision. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that item is approved. Item number 2, water and sewer reserve for future improvements, budget revision number 5, Ms. Standridge.
This is just the next side of that exact same transaction. It is recognizing the transfer into the water and sewer RFFI and then creating the project for it. So again, if we need to amend it to the the 51,500, we can do that here.
Is there a motion to amend?
So moved to amend.
Second.
51,500.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, item is approved. Back to the original budget revision number 5. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Items number 3 and 4 both involve Big Arrow grant applications. Ms. Gilmore,
Good
welcome.
afternoon, council. How are y'all?
Good afternoon.
So we have been working with ADECA on some partnership opportunities for the Sabin Center, and we're excited to bring 2 of those to you today. So this first one is authorization to apply for a grant to the Southern Appalachian Automotive and Aviation Workforce. And this grant is to provide $1 million worth of funding to build out the drone and flight exhibits at the Sabin Center.
Wow. Awesome.
And the match is?
So the match is within the current Sabin Center budget. Essentially, they said anything that you have budgeted to build out exhibits within the Sabin Center can count towards the match for these opportunities.
So we basically already spent this money.
It's budgeted,
Or
yes, sir.
budget
Yes.
to be spent. Got it.
And it's a 1-for-1 match, right?
Right.
Yes, it is.
So moved.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Is this gonna be an exhibit, or will there be training with this down the road?
So what we pitched to them was a package of a couple of different exhibits, the flight exhibit and the drone exhibit. And those includes equipment that's going to help build out like the flight simulator and some actual drones. It includes some training pieces as well. So we packaged it all together for something that would help them see a pathway to the workforce.
Mm-hmm.
What's the timeline on this, you know?
So this one, they asked us to submit this application within 90 days of receiving the letter from them, which we received last week. So we have 90 days to submit this application to them. This is for funding for the next fiscal year.
Funding, this, so this would be
26.
money to be spent in 26,
Yes, sir.
correct? Okay, well, the whole drone concept, I think, is exciting.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, any other questions or comments?
A motion, Mr. Chairman, on the table. I'll second it.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
So grant application is approved.
All right.
Next item, Ms. Gilmore, you're still up. Authorization to submit a map. This is another, well, you go ahead.
Yes, sir. So in the same vein, we were asking for 1 partnership opportunity, and they were so excited they gave us 2 partnership opportunities. So this is another ADECA managed grant. This one is through the Appalachian Regional Commission, and this one is for $1 million towards the career lab at the Sabin Center.
And what's a career lab?
The career lab is going to be the lab that students go to experience the opportunities that there are in the workforce related to the exhibits that they experienced at the Saban Center. So it'll give them a chance to have like an AI interview or to see a video of someone who works in this field, basically taking their experiences at the Saban Center and hooking up with them with what they can do next with
Theory
it.
and practice, right?
Yes.
So what's the timeline on this one?
This one is a little bit quicker. They would like this application submitted by June 3rd.
In order to do what?
In order to approve the funding that they would like to approve for, again, next fiscal year.
So, Ms. Standridge, these amounts are available and ready to be matched if the grant applications?
Yes, sir, they're the
Are
ones
there-
that are already budgeted within the Saban Center project alone.
Okay. Gentlemen, any other questions or comments?
Second?
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Gilmore. Capital projects proposal review and committee action on selected items. And I think we have a slide, and each of you should have a handout.
Yes, sir.
This represents us beginning to work our way through the mayor's capital projects proposal. And essentially, we will tackle them in 3 tranches. This is the first one, and the one with the most projects on there. These are the projects we've reviewed and believe that there is consensus at council level. And these can go ahead and move forward. Tranche 2 and 3 are much smaller, in general, much larger in amount. But again, will probably require more negotiation, compromise, etc., to get them through. But this goes ahead and clears the low-hanging fruit off the tree so we can deal with what we need to. Can we make that a little bigger, Vicki, or not?
Excuse it, it doesn't look real good when I try
Okay.
to expand it.
Essentially, it's not.
I have extra copies, so.
I will read down through them just so the audience at home can also hear them if they're not able to see it. And they can download this through the website, correct? So out of the capital funds or capital projects out of the GFRFFI funds that are available, CFG mower replacements, ADA compliance, Riverwalk bridge replacement, Lake Tuscaloosa bridge replacement, PAL Gym, McWright's MLK camera escrow, the SEED grant, striping and general refresh, University Boulevard and Alberta landscaping upgrade, Julia Tutwiler access design, ESD, where's Chris, getting a new sidearm garbage truck, he should be happy, Project Warrior, Hargrove at McFarland eastbound turn lane, which we have talked about and been briefed by engineering, Public Safety Fund, we're putting $1 3/4 million into RSA in the piggy bank. Neighborhood drainage, another $3 million. Citywide resurfacing, another 3.75. Moving down to the gas tax funds. From the funds available, we're adding just over $2 million more to citywide resurfacing. Alabama trust funds, from the projected $450,000 that will come in there, we are allocating that to Project Warrior. Chief, I have taken, you've got a little over $1 million requested for take-home cars.
Yes, sir.
And that's on the harder list, not the easier list. I will schedule y'all, and what I would like to see when y'all come in is help us understand where we are manpower-wise and inventory of vehicles and aging so that we can begin working our way through that. Are there any questions or comments on the list in front of us? If not, is there a motion?
Let me ask you a
Sure.
question. What else other than that is left for later consideration, Mr. Chairman? I know.
We've got when Eric comes in, CFG has got around 850,000 for the city hall security and improvements that we want to talk about. There is, let's see, there is the Veterans Memorial Parkway pedestrian bridge maintenance. That's worthy of discussion, I think. We included the Powell Gym, McDonald Hughes baseball lights on this list. We also have,
I think you did not mention the McDonald Hughes baseball lights, but you meant to, didn't you?
I thought it was on there.
Yeah, it's on
Did it?
It's on there.
I know it's on the list.
Yeah, it's
I just wanna make-
$500,000.
Okay.
What's the seed grant, Council?
That's the match with the county in Northport with the state for the airport for that economic development.
Oh,
Get
yeah,
the
yeah.
site prep, remember?
Okay.
Because the county's matching that, Northport's matching it,
It's gonna be a great project.
absolutely. To get the state, you had to put up money
Yeah,
too.
I just couldn't remember.
Any other questions or comments?
I have a motion to approve.
Second?
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, list is approved. And now where are we going? Next item. Follow-up questions for capital projects budget proposal. Okay, so,
Yes.
yeah,
Sorry, so this was put on the agenda. Since I was out last week, I heard that there were some questions, that were some follow-up items from the capital budget proposal, and we're just kind of here to answer what we can.
sure. And I've got, so let's start with what I think are the easier ones.
Okay.
Ms. LaFeche, are you there?
Yes,
Last
of course
one.
I'm here.
There you are. So, yeah, what came up that really sparked this was last week, as we were looking over some of the spreadsheets, there's an amount of $442,000 for 3 years being allocated to help the fundraising effort, as I understand it, for Savings Center. The exchange between Mayor Maddox and I was, I understood year one, which from a cold start, you need seed money to get warmed up and started. What's going on with the rest of that money?
So generally, the amounts that are transferred to the Savings Center Foundation to help them do their fundraising efforts are paying for things like Brant's salary, number one, and then all of her benefits that are attached to that. Also the marketing campaign for the capital fundraising efforts. I'm sure that you guys have seen some of the billboards that are around town, and some of the ad buys on social media. And then it also will do things like they purchased a software package to be able to keep all of the donor information structured and timelines for receiving all of those pledge receipts, and then the transfer of that to the city that happens in December. So that software package, it's all of those types of things.
So Brent, where are we if we've allocated over roughly $880,000 during the first 2 years? Is that expended?
So right now, we've worked with Carly Standridge and on our budget to try to manage. So we have to manage up to opening. So to answer your question, most of it has been expended, or either said, hey, we've pulled out this amount of money for marketing, to ramp up marketing towards closer to opening. So that's how we've managed the budget, essentially like a startup. So we know that we have to get to drop date, right? And we have to take those monies and make sure those are allocated appropriately.
Okay, so when you say marketing, we're not talking about marketing of the capital campaign, we're talking about marketing of the center opening?
I'm sorry, no, sir. It's actually both. So
Both.
when you are marketing the capital campaign, like Carly mentioned, we're currently in that phase. We will continue to fundraise, as y'all know. So we will continue that marketing efforts on those kind of one-to-one donate, making sure message is getting out there. But also we ramp up those efforts towards opening. So whereas when we do fundraising, we have one-on-one meetings initially. But then as we get closer, we want full engagement from the community. That means attendance, that means donations, that means pure excitement to tell your neighbor. So all of that is encapsulated in that.
So what, what prompted it was, we were talking about how successful the fundraising is unfolding. And I said, well, why don't we use that money to do that? What's the answer to that question?
Sure, it's pretty straightforward. Is that as we just tell the donors, they're in an agreement with the foundation, and we say that we are going to use that money towards capital funds. And so if that were to change, we would have to go back to the donor, just like we promised to you that we're going to use X amount of dollars towards a bridge or whatnot. It goes back to you, that changes. So just like the donors have an expectation and we have a written agreement that those funds that they've donated to us go directly towards the capital funds to build the building.
Okay. And Mr. Holmes, you're on that board, right?
Yes, sir.
So that's an agreement between the foundation and the donors it's approaching to give. It says, we'll only use your money for this, is that right?
Yes, sir, and I will add a caveat, not to add to confusion. I serve on the board by position. The board actually has an attorney. I don't represent the board as the board's attorney. I can only represent the city of Tuscaloosa.
Well, you're right, it did add to the confusion.
Yes, sir.
You're on the board?
Yes, sir, I am on the board.
Okay.
I don't serve as the board's attorney, though.
Okay, that part I get, okay. Okay, gentlemen, any other questions, comments?
Carly,
Yes, sir.
when, after we get the bids back this week and all that stuff is put together, I personally, Mr. Chairman, as we're going back through this, I want us to go back through that ultimate expense like you and I talked a little bit about.
Absolutely.
Just coming back, the numbers, kind of getting back to what we're borrowing, what we've spent, what we're planning on doing. I just want us to spend part of our committee one day just kind of going through this whole
Sure.
kind of list, because I know there's always, I mean, I just want to understand that, make sure that I'm totally clear with a
Absolutely.
couple
So,
things.
and what we passed out in the past, the revenue side of everything is the sources side of the project. We can go over the uses of those
Please.
sources also
Please.
once we have the bids back, and we can show that full breakdown of how we've used those sources. Yes,
And-
sir.
So bids are back Friday, did I say we'd push it
Friday.
today?
Yes,
Are they
sir.
back Friday?
Yes, sir.
And then once those bids are back, we'll probably hear pretty quickly what's what, and then is it 60 days we have to respond, Brant?
It's a
When that
60
what?
day.
So we've got basically till July 16th, we've got to say yay, nay, indifferent, we gotta do change or whatever, right? Couple months.
I can't speak on authority of y'all's process. I'm
Yeah,
a
but
fundraising
we
gal.
got 60 days to accept or reject the bid.
I know it's 60 days.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
sir.
fine. So we've got plenty of time to go through all this. Okay.
Brent, would you work us up a little synopsis of, of those 442s, roughly 1.3, where are we in expenditures so far, and block out the significant pieces that that what's left will be used for?
Sure,
All right,
absolutely.
thank you.
No problem.
While we got these two here, and speaking of, what are we up to now in contributions? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
We're over $30 million
Okay.
in private donations.
And all of that will be within the next 9 years?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I think all of that's actually, might be even within 8, but yes, sir.
Great
That's
job.
good. Good job.
Awesome.
So here's, no, you can sit down. So, Ms. Sanders, I think one of the things that was confusing to us that we're clearing up, and now we talked about addressing the uses, not the sources.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, John.
Was, to us and probably to the layman listening at home too, when you hear this successful capital campaign going on, and we're, what did you just say, 30, 32, something like that, million, we're thinking, oh good, that's less money we've got to go borrow. But it's not, right?
So the And this will probably be a question when the mayor comes back, but the original offer into the project from the city bonding was the 42 million. And then we told them that whatever they fundraise on top of that would be able to expand the project. And so, yes, those donations are not taking away from the 42 million that we were promising to bond out from the beginning.
Gotcha.
But they do factor into determining how much we are going to go to the bond market for, because
Because of the timing.
they're not all sitting there right now. Chuck.
Correct.
And so if we look at, call it 30, for just as a round number. So Ms. LaPiche has got some 30 million plugged in over 9 columns from now through 2033.
Mhm.
And we know that we're gonna have to bond that money because it's not all sitting there. Are we programming our borrowing maturities to reflect that money coming available over the first 9 years? I mean, if we know, and we know because Ms. LaPiche told us, we've got around 30 million bucks coming in over the next 9 years, right? We're not, and we factor that into our borrowing because it's not sitting there now, right?
Right.
But we're not borrowing 28 or 30 years for that 30 million, right?
Well,
So what you're asking for is to have larger debt service payments
yeah,
early
to go
on.
against
What I'm
To be the
asking
first
for
8
is
years.
matching roughly. I mean, I
We're not
understand it's
paying for
not,
that for 30 years.
it's not precise,
right.
but we don't want to borrow for 30 years on 30 million bucks that we know is coming in over the next 9. We want to the extent possible, match maturities. And I don't mean every, 2.3 million this year and 3.6 that year, but certainly we would want an average of the early maturities for the 30 million to reflect the known inflow of that money to pay it off.
That hasn't been something that Mr. Garrison and I have discussed before, but we can look into that.
Okay, I would
We
very
have a
much.
call date, right? I mean, you can always buy the call date down if you want to prepay
True,
it
you
earlier.
can use a call date to buy it in.
If you want to prepay it earlier, but at the end of the day, what is the total? So you got 66
But the
minus-
call date is going to make that borrowing function somewhat like that maturity, right? Because the investor knows, hey, I'm buying a 30-year bond, but they could take it back from me if rates move their way in 6 years, right?
I think what we need, what me and Barry would need to know to give y'all the best advice is to understand the cash flow and how it's moving.
Right, and that's
And
what
therefore,
we've
we can
got.
structure whatever we need to do.
That's the conversation I would like to take
Sure.
place.
Sure.
Okay. Mr. Crowe, did you have any questions?
No, I think we just need to look at that. And then once we kind of get through that bid process, just going back through that budget again and kind of diving into some of those numbers, making sure we're all on the same page. Thank y'all, thank you. Thank you, Carla.
Thank
I
you.
think that takes care of mine right now as well. I know y'all got a conversation started, and we'll finish that next week after we see what the bids look like.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions or comments or any other business to be brought before the finance committee? If not,